The duo lecture series was intended to sort of make a standard grad talk more interesting by inviting sort of folks from other departments, and a lot of us in the VCS cohort have really strong relationships with collaborators from other departments, and so it made a lot of sense.
Anthony and I are good friends. We've been good friends for a couple of years now, and the friendship sometimes involves partying and sometimes involves both of us hanging out and like doing work together. Well, he'll be like typing emails and I'll be weaving and things like that. So there's all these different ways in which we end up working together and or collaborating.
We started by reading all these different historical examples. Ed and I both have books about parties and have checked out most of the library books in Flaxman about parties. So we were reading these things and found them interesting on one level, but also, you know, like by providing this conversation beforehand, we hoped that people would have an idea of the breadth of sort of like the way that people have thought about and we are engaging with parties as like sort of a subject. And that's something that I find is pretty related to my experience in VCS. So like if I was a painter, I might be able to do a studio visit where someone just comes in and I say, there's the art, that's a painting, there's the art. Well, like necessarily the work that I do requires that sort of element of dialogue beforehand. I can't just walk in and say, here's a party, this is the art, or like here is a discussion on ephemerality, that's the art. Like we have to discuss some of these ideas that I'm interested and invested in, and then we can get to whether or not there's an object or an event or something. Then we can start finding out what the subject or the object of the critique is. It's been really awesome for me to have someone to go and work with or around who's doing something different. So I don't have an object making background or really practice. I'm really interested in creating opportunities for other folks to find their connection to the arts.
I can get like super deep into what I'm making and like really focus on the material process and the labor of it, and so it's really helpful to step back and add a component of discussion as well as reading and research. I'm an undergraduate in the fibers department here at SAIC, but I also have practices outside of school that involve organizing people and artists and education and things like that. So there are ways in which our practices and goals really mesh with each other, but like with my, I still have a heavy studio practice as an independent artist, so that like kind of throws in this major difference in the way that we work and the way that we think about our work, as well as how we relate to other artists and just other thinkers and people.